There's a couple of things happening in this Colorado space that I don't think that we talk about enough because we're so used to these things happening in society. So when we're seeing it happening in the Colorado space, I feel like we take a lot of it for granted and we're like, yeah, of course this is happening because this is what happens. And just because this is what happens doesn't mean that it's right, and it doesn't mean that it should happen. And it really saddens me that it feels like people are using Coach Prime and everything that he's doing, and they're almost using it to indirectly attack him. And I think that it's actually embarrassing, and they should just talk about it. Here's the truth. I think we all can agree that anything Colorado is going to bring you clicks and it's going to bring you views. Let's be real here. Look at my channel. The things I do on Colorado always overperform anything else that I do. And I'm trying very hard to not just focus on Colorado because there's so many other things I want to talk about. But we can all see what things do numbers. We can all see what topics and what things people are clicking on and what they're very interested in on YouTube in the sports world right now. As far as Colorado content, people are interested in consuming Colorado content. I get that. I actually understand that. My problem is when you have articles and when you kind of have these things that are coming out that are, we'll call them hit pieces, but what it's really doing is it's like a disguised hate. It's like a sniper trying to get at you from the side without telling the full story. This started this weekend when I was scrolling through Twitter and I saw this graphic from Yahoo Sports. And Yahoo Sports was like, another year without somebody from Colorado getting drafted. Here's the reason why that is dumb. So first of all, Colorado is not the only school that's not getting people drafted, first and foremost. Second of all, this is Coach going into Coach Prime's second year. So you're already holding him to literally the highest standard you can hold a coach to, which is getting people to the NFL. That's the highest standard. But you're holding him to that standard already. Hasn't been at the program for that long. He is trying and working and grinding it out. He will get there. He's just not there yet. But to knock him and to say, how many years it's been when he's only been there for 2 years, I don't understand that. And that's how you know that this is disguised hate. There is a song and a movie. There's a thin line between love and hate. There's a very thin line. And I think a lot of these publications love the attention that Coach Prime can bring their publication. They love that they can garner engagement from the things that they say about Coach Prime. And they love it. And as a business-minded person, I understand that. My issue, though, is if you're going to do it, at least do it in a way where you're not trying to drag people through the mud. The Atlantic article bothered me because a friend of mine has access to read the article, and in the article, I was told that they tried to interview at least 50 or 60 people about the program and nobody would talk to them except for the person that ended up talking to them that they got the quote from. So you're telling me that you're running an article about something and people that you're trying to reach out to talk to you about this hit piece don't even want to talk to you, and you get one person and it takes you probably all of 5 minutes to go research this person, know more about this athlete, and figure out what he's doing, but yet you run this article. You ran the article for clicks and views. Fine. But if you're going to run the article for clicks and views, can we at least get some facts right? Can we at least get some understanding about what the point is of the article? What are you trying to do? They are trying to sabotage Coach Prime. They are trying to make this program assume that they are doing things that other programs are not doing. They're trying their hardest to make this program seem like there are things happening that don't always happen in other programs. I will say this, everybody who's watched any video that I've put out, even videos that I will continue to put out, I am going to be critical of CU. I'm going to be critical as a fan because I have high expectations for this program and I'm going to be critical. However, me being critical is not an attack on Coach Prime, and it's not an attack on what he's building, and it's not an attack to where I feel like he's single-handedly isolating people. It's not to the point where I feel like they are doing something that is extremely inappropriate and that isn't done everywhere. And that's what bothers me. If you're going to talk about this at Colorado program, also reach out to other schools and talk to them about what these coaches are telling these other students that are entering the transfer portal. Because I can tell you right now, the University of Colorado is not the only school that is telling players that you're not going to play and that you should enter the transfer portal. Why? Because they need these scholarships. They're literally every school that is needing players to leave so they can get more players in are having the same conversations that Colorado is having. And it's really disappointing to me that we're living in a world where we're bashing an organization for doing things that other organizations are doing. If you want to bash Colorado, at least do it in a way where you stand on it and you own it. Don't drag the kids into it. You clearly have your opinions about what's happening in Colorado. You clearly have your own thoughts about what's happening in Colorado. Listen, I am one of those people. I am one of those people that has thoughts about what's happening in Colorado. And you know what I do? I come on and I make a video and I put myself on it and I put my name on it, because that's what you do when you have something to say. Don't drag other athletes in this. Don't ask around and see what people are thinking. You have an opinion. Write an opinion piece and state your opinion based on the facts that you have come up with. Stop trying to drag athletes into this. They don't want to be in it. That's why people didn't respond to you to want to be a part of this article. And yet you take an athlete that who knows what his involvement was in Colorado. I'm hearing he broke his leg. I'm hearing he did very little. I'm hearing that he was just somebody that had to go. He didn't fit the program. He didn't fit what they're looking for. He had to go. That's no different than what any other program is doing across the country. I also want to comment and say, I totally understand that Colorado is running their own media and they have their own narrative and they have their own thing they're trying to do. I understand that. And I understand that a lot of people have a problem with that. Sometimes I even question if it's a good idea to have their own media. But here's the thing. When I question it, I put my name on it and it's my opinion and it's on my channel. I'm not going to drag anybody else through for my opinion. And it's really disgusting that we live in a world where, quite frankly, these little subtle microaggressions find a way to come out, because it's like this, you're disguising your hate for what he's doing. And if you want to make a story about Coach Prime because he drives clicks and views, then make the story about Coach Prime and keep other people out of it. Stand on it. Stand on what you think about this program. Speak on it. Have a whole article about what you think. Talk about their record. Talk about the fact that you don't like the way they're doing things. Talk about things that you've heard. Talk about rumors or something. But when you're dragging in other athletes, that is actually cowardly, because now what you've done is you drag this other athlete into the story. You have this visual of him and Coach Prime, and you have excluded yourself from the conversation. And that's a problem, because this comes from a publication. That athlete that gave you the interview and that gave you those quotes is a part of the publication, but yet you're allowing that athlete to take all the blame for what you couldn't put your name on and you couldn't stand on it. And that is disgusting and it's not fair. I also want to comment on two more things. First and foremost, I want to mention, pay attention to how people are going to talk about what's happening right now. Pay attention to the wording that people are going to use. Some people are using wording that are microaggressions to describe the Colorado fan base. Pay attention to what is happening right in front of us, because although we want to act like things aren't about race, this isn't about race, this is about football, this is about coaching, right? We all know this game. We know how this game is played. Different people in this country get treated differently. And right now, Coach Prime is driving clicks and views and likes and engagement and comments, and he's stirring up reactions, and he has his players and people are out here defending him. And so now we're garnering more attention. And so now more people are going to talk about this. More people are going to write about this. Pay attention to the language that they use when they're talking about Coach Prime and the Colorado Buffaloes. Just pay attention is all I'm saying. I also want to throw out one more thing, and I'm going to self-promote myself because I'm on YouTube and that's what I'm supposed to do. I made a video. My hair was different when I created it, but I know how this world works, and it is about everything being about race. And I know some of you are going to get triggered, and some of you are even thinking right now in this second, oh gosh, here she goes. She's going to make it about race. Everything's not about race. Here we go. Here we go. Here's the thing. Everything is about race because Coach Prime is grabbing attention. Coach Prime is doing things that a lot of people haven't seen. And Coach Prime is one of those people who has a ton of Black people following him. He just does. It is what it is. People want to see Coach Prime be successful because if Coach Prime is successful, he will change the landscape of how college football operates, and he will dismantle some things that we have thought about football. And yes, Coach Prime happens to be a Black man. And when you are a Black man trying to change a system and to try to go against things that people don't want you to change, it will be about race. So let's not sit here for 2 seconds and think that these things that are happening are not about race, because they are about race. Pay attention to how people start talking about this. If big news picks up on this, if big media picks up on this, pay attention to the languages they use. Pay attention to how they describe this fan base. Pay attention to how they describe Coach Prime. Pay attention to how they describe his sons. Pay attention to the language that is using, because at the end of the day, to our foundation, there are a lot of things that we make about race because we have specific expectations of race in this country. That is how we operate. We've always operated that way. So to act like that is not a factor here is actually ignoring the real issue. I won't even say the real issue. I will say a big part of this, because Coach Prime is doing things differently, because Coach Prime culturally is different than a lot of these coaches, because where Coach Prime comes from and how he handles things and how he talks and how he handles his swag is different. And so watch people attack that as they start to talk about this. I also just want to say again, I am somebody that will always be objective. And because I am objective, yes, there are times where certain things that Colorado is doing, I don't like it. There are certain times where I share my opinion about some things that are happening in Colorado. There are certain moments where I'm like, oh, I wish they would do this. I wish they would do this. They need this. They need that. That is a fact. And you want to know what I will do? I will always put my name on it. I will always stand on what I think, and I will always hope that they change my mind. I will not drag other people into what I'm saying, because I can stand on it in my opinion. And like I will always say over and over, anytime I have an opinion on Colorado and it's not a great opinion and it could be conceived as negative, or it could be seen as feedback, or I'm being critical, whatever you want to call it, I don't care. I will always stand on it, and I will always hope that I am wrong. And I will always hope that the way that I am analyzing a situation and the thoughts that I'm putting together and creating a video, I will always hope that my opinions are wrong and that they are going to be better than anything I could ever think of. I will always think that. I will always hope that. But until I see that proven, I will always have my concerns and doubts. I'm a fan. I'm going to continue to watch. I'm going to continue to support. But I just wanted to make this video to let you know to pay attention to how people are going to talk about Colorado. Pay attention to the words they use. Pay attention to how they talk about this topic. And last time I'll say this, my video tomorrow will be up about everything being about race, because I strongly believe that everything is about race. And if we don't start there, and if we don't pay attention to what's happening and how different people are getting treated because of different things, we're already failing. So that's why I made that video. And I just wanted to come out and say, I hope that the Colorado Buffaloes keep doing what they're doing. I don't like seeing all the players coming out and defending. That's my opinion. Again, I'm going to be critical where I feel like I need to be critical. I feel like the players should just stay out of it and just let it ride. But now that they're in it, right, and they've created this thing, pay attention to the words that people start using to describe the situation. Just pay attention to what's going on. Take note and understand how people are seeing you, how they're talking about you, how they label you, how they criticize you, and the wording that they use. Because the wording that they use will describe more about what they're really thinking than what they're actually able to say. So just pay attention to how this is going to go over the next couple of days, if the story continues to pick up and if it doesn't just go away and get washed in the news. So those are my 2 cents. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I've always say this, and I'll always say this. I'm rooting for Colorado. I hope they do well. I hope that they don't let things like this distract them. And I hope that as a whole fan base, we can see what's going on here and we can call it the BS when we see the BS, and we can stay focused on what we need to do. And what we need to do is get into summer camp and focus on winning games and get some more players and gel as a team and hope for the best this season, because that is what I hope.